we keep it curious. Break it down, have some fun.
Get the party going, you know.
I wish I had some summer shandies. I had
What
two
are
summer
summer?
shandies, get the party going.
What is that?
Summer shandies are beers.
I don't drink beer, so okay. What is that, like a
Well,
course?
girl, no. Summer shandy, I don't know if it's like a light IP. Baby, I don't know all the beers. It's just a beer in a brown bottle, honey. That's all I
Like
know.
okay, like a 40.
No,
Yes.
not like a 40. Absolutely. It's like it's a light beer. So like it's super cute. It's one of those beers. It's not a hard beer.
When I crossed, my dean, he gave our line 40s the
Well,
next
listen,
day
there was a
after we
time in my
crossed.
life where I did drink beer, so like heavily. So a 40 ain't nothing.
You with the whites? Or you was down at the
No,
HBCU?
both, honestly. Both of them, both. But my white friends did well, my dad is a beer drinker, but my white friends, they had me down to the beer for a long time, drunk as fuck off beer. But then I went to Livingstone and they was also drinking beer there too, so.
So how many beers does it take to get you drunk?
2, 3 max. Don't take nothing.
Okay, lightweight.
Yeah, very much. That's why I do not drink
Okay.
anymore.
Okay, well, good. We are denouncing all
Conscious
alcohol
queen.
because we are Christians and pure. Great. All right, so welcome
Okay.
welcome to
Hey,
this week's
everyone.
episode
Wow,
of Sus
not
the Pod.
Christians.
Yeah, it's
Crazy.
very Christian. Even in the Halloween. So
Not the Halloween season.
yes, in the spirit. In the spirit. Yes, I'm TJ.
I am TP. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
I rhymed.
I did. How you feeling? You feeling good? You have your
I'm
shandy?
feeling good. I have that. No, well, I have my LaCroix. She's here. She's a raspberry cran. Okay,
We do like
cranberry.
that. We like that.
You like those? Some people don't really like
Yeah.
sparkling
They're
water,
okay.
you know?
I feel like sparkling water always it makes me thirstier, so
Well,
I don't
luckily
really
it's
drink it
water, so
that
you could
often.
just keep drinking with no
I
guilt.
don't know if it well, yeah, no guilt. I would put like a little piece of lemon in there. You know, just
Yeah,
give it
a piece of
a little
lime.
pucker. Yeah.
Yeah. See, some people like to put a little bit of vodka. I don't think you should do that, but some people
Well,
do.
I'm not okay.
Mm, yep.
Well, I thought about it. I thought about it. You gotta catch me on the right day.
Okay,
Anyway,
okay.
anyway, so let's get into other people's business.
Yeah, you know me, get down with OPB, but
Honestly, it's so much business going on. Aren't we? We might be a little bit overwhelmed with other people's business for the first time. I ain't never felt
You
like
know,
that. That's how you know it's
hey,
too much going on.
as they say in Philly, we are newsy. Okay. And speaking of news, so the government shutdown has entered its 21st day.
Period.
I really wish I had like a reporter's voice because I feel like I would love to be able to deliver this in such an amazing way, but I just
You
don't.
can do
So
it. I think you can do
well,
it.
I'll practice.
Just
Well,
practice
anyway,
it.
yeah, I'll do it on the off. I'll do it over the winter. So
Okay, perfect.
as we have been discussing this whole time, Democrats are still holding strong, thank God.
Hallelujah.
About
I
not
guess.
selling us up the river for and allowing us to lose these healthcare subsidies. But on
Period.
on the flip side of all this, the Republicans are not budging either, and people are getting furloughed. What makes it a lot worse is that because Trump mandated that the people still have to go to work and in the office. The folks have to still get up and pay. They gotta, pay for gas, pay for lunch, get to work, and receive no paycheck.
Crazy work. Crazy work.
It's really unfortunate, but I mean, it looks like I know this is not like putting a band-aid on this whole situation. At least they're going to get paid later on. I know it sucks to not have your coins when you need them right now,
Yeah.
especially if like the end of the month is about to come and that rent is due.
Maybe. And it ain't gonna not be due. That's the sad part. That's the
I know.
sad part. It ain't gonna be no
Okay.
discounted rate because you work for the government. That's the crazy part. You know,
I
I
know.
just like I I don't know. I don't know. It's such a like interesting situation this particular go round
Hmm.
because it's a little bit more politicized, but as much as this is an inconvenience, I hope it is shocking people that have never been shocked before, like
Yeah.
in the wake of this shutdown, because I don't think shutdowns are unique to this day and time at all. But I
Yeah.
think that the way in which this one's happening, I think it's allowing I hope it's allowing people to see that these motherfuckers are crazy. And that is really that in a nutshell. And so I hope that Democrats are smart. Um I feel like they are smart in some areas, but as a collective party,
Hmm.
I'm not too confident if they are. Like, yeah, they're holding out, but like how do you capitalize on this holding out? And I don't know if they've quite figured that one out. But I mean, you got people like I think his name was Madani, you got Roy Cooper, who I think are gonna, be who they are and help the party maybe feel revived in a bit of a way. But honey, this is all kind of crazy for me. So we'll see how it goes. But onward and upward to a governmental shutdown is what we say. So here we are.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Onward and upward. I mean, I think once people so the insurance companies right now, they're starting to send out like, oh, your rates are going to increase. I was listening to,
Girl.
I know you have your thing about
Oof.
about Angela Rye, but
Oh.
was she put on some TikTok videos.
Mm,
She was on her podcast, put on some TikTok videos. Some folks are getting the notices that without the subsidies. She was talking about some lady had like she would pay like $50 or something a month for her insurance, and it's gonna go up to like 1,200 or something like that. It was really low, and
crazy.
now it's about to like quadruple or whatever the case is, and it's because of stuff like this. So if you can only imagine, like once people start getting those notices and they can actually like see that the Democrats are actually fighting for something that will affect them, I think hopefully um things tilt
But you
more into the
like
favor.
You see how you just explained that so eloquently? Why can't people do that when they're on the floor? Why can't people do that when they are on CNN and NBC and all these other places and really just spell it out for people? There is a little bit of media training that I feel like they all have that they have to lose. Like there is not an
Yeah.
element of media training that exists with these stupid ass people. You have to really talk to them. I would have been if I was a Democrat in either both House or the Senate, anytime it was time for me to speak, damn, I ain't gonna have a whiteboard. 1 + 1 = 3. Okay, let me walk you through it. Hold on a second, Dave. Let me walk you through this. You see this 3 here? The 3 is you. Okay. Do you see this -2? That's the government. It's gonna leave 1, baby, and that 1 is you with nothing. Okay. So like, I don't know if they really know how to do that because the average American is stupid. Like, and I hate to say it that way, but like they are. And I'm not saying that I'm not the average American because I don't know
Mhm.
everything about government, but like we are. It's bureaucracy at its finest. So like, girl, be on TV and it's really very simple. Let's check the board. That's what they need. They need to get her on a team.
Not they need to get her on the team. I mean,
They
that's why
do.
people are attracted to like AOC and like Bernie because it'll just like well, he'll just say it, right? Just like plain and
Yeah.
simple, you get the message, which is cool. Well, people are getting upset and angry, of course, of everything the administration is doing and like how the government is playing out or not playing out. And over the weekend, there were no King's protests all around the country. They said about 7 million people came out in like nationwide. I actually went to one very briefly,
Okay.
very briefly.
Okay.
My place of employment flew me out to Houston, Texas to do some filming. And
Period.
a part of the filming, we had some we had to do like a last minute detour, and I ended up going to the protest. Very peaceful. It warmed my heart a lot. I thought the signs were wonderful. Um it was everyone was in a really like positive mood, but I don't know, where does this go from here? We a long way
Yeah.
out from the next election, even though some folks have elections in November, which New Jersey, Virginia, whatever the case is, but most of us
Mhm.
don't really have anything soon. So I'm
Yeah.
just hoping that that energy will be channeled or can carry on in the next year, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. November 4th is right around the corner for the girls here in North Carolina. So we are
Hmm.
getting out to rock the vote. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and you
She
okay?
will
You're
be
a poll worker.
she will be an assistant poll worker working
Mhm.
5:30 a.m. to 7:30 or 8 p.m. at night, taking care of your civic needs and your civic duty. So make sure you get out here if you're in the North Carolina area, please. Thank you.
Can you okay? Because you do work the poll and you work it well.
Yeah.
Let me ask you
You
this.
better know it.
So I know the folks like to think that someone can just steal the elections, especially like your wonderful local ones. I mean, I guess
Mm-hmm.
all of them are
Mm-hmm.
local.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Being a poll worker, what say you about protecting the vote?
Um, I, it's sacred. Your vote is very sacred. But the idea that one could steal a vote is also far-fetched, but also very much a real thing. And so I can see how one could have the perception, especially when they don't work. But there's both a
Mm.
Republican judge and a Democratic judge at every single precinct that you go in. And their responsibility is to ensure that there's a safe and free election so that if there is any discrepancies, there are two parties, both parties that are there to identify, to have conversation, and poll assistants and other workers and all those people that sit over at the tabulators and spaces are also there to make sure that there is fair and free elections. But the idea that people are just walking around and stealing, one of the things that people should know is that if you're like a husband or a wife, sister or a brother, maybe you can work at the same polling location, but it definitely can't be at the same time. One person can
Mm.
work the morning shift and the other one can work the next one. But I think if you're married, you can't even work at the same one at all. So like Jimmy, tried to get Jimmy to volunteer and they were like, baby, absolutely not. He can work at the end of the day and you can work at the other half of the day or he can go somewhere else. And I was like, "Oh." But like those there are certain like precautions that keep you from doing things like that. But then to the earlier point, there are like counties when you think about who are super red
Mhm.
and they are radically red in the sense that they are going to make sure that they can't find any Democratic judges, so they don't feel like they need one. And then maybe their board of elections highest person is a Republican, and everybody that's in there is a Republican. There are
Mhm.
ways, and not to say that that can't happen in the Democratic space either, but we know historically where it happens in these small red towns where no one else is, and no one's really monitoring all of the things. I mean, I think about my own hometown from times where I I was too young to vote, and how important all of those voices were, and most of them were voters of color. And so if there were mostly white people in that were deemed Republican in that space, and they wanted to alter or shift whatever we were doing in a day without modern technology like we live in, hell, anything could have happened. But I think there are more people who are working the polls that understand it, which is why I got my black ass in it. So I say to people out there, if you are nervous about your vote not counting, or you want to know more about why voting is so important, the only way to do it is to just go and see what the experience is like. And you get paid for the training, the day, and all the things. So going on out there.
Oh my God, thank you so much for that information.
You're
That was
welcome.
good. But while we're here, just want to touch like two more things on government. One, Trump is demolishing this White House. And I feel like this is so symbolic of his whole administration, his whole presidency, the first one and the second one. And I saw today that they're just talking about they don't want the Treasury Department, which is across the street. They don't want those people to release any more photos. So I'm just like, it's first off, it's such an eyesore. All of it is just such an eyesore. But to destroy this historic place that we most recently, because I know a lot of the old like photographers and things from the Obama White House, when we used to think so fondly of this place, we used to run down the hallway with his kids and the dog and all that stuff. All that's just being wiped away
It's insane. That is insane.
for this
Literally
tacky
insane.
ballroom.
Which is like, I thought there would be more of like a rule where, like, if you're gonna make such drastic changes to the
Mhm.
White House, that you would
Yeah.
need some sort of approval from somewhere. But I guess when you have all your niggas in there doing what you say, it don't matter.
It don't. I was watching The View today, and apparently there's a process that like there are people that the White House usually consults because you want to keep the integrity of the house so it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
collapse. But they obviously did not do that. They just decided to just take the wrecking ball literally and just wipe it away. In one of those spaces house the first lady's office, and so that tells you that she's never there. So she's never there, she's never with him really. These people are terrible.
Wow. Wow,
Yeah.
bitch. Wow.
Yeah. What? Okay, big wow. Now, lastly on this government piece, George Santos, he has been let out of prison. And for the people who don't know, George Santos is a former drag queen slash stunt
Clock
queen
it.
who
Clock it.
ran for Congress, won, and then he was convicted of wire fraud and identity theft for using his donors their identities and falsifying like finance reports. Trump commuted his sentence, and so he got out early. He got convicted of 7 years, got out early within 3 months, I believe. And he doesn't have to pay restitution back to those people. This is one of those things that bothers me so much about where we are today. Who, in your opinion, who in this country gets a redemption arc? And do you think those redemption arcs are fair? Because a lot of the time we see people get convicted of these crimes, and next thing you know, they get out and they're dancing with the stars, or they're
Hmm.
getting a reality show like the Chrisleys
Yeah.
or whatever they're called.
Yeah. I mean, d- I don't know. It depends on, like, when you are defrauding the government, it's
Hmm.
not fair to the everyday American, but, like, girl, good for you. I think it is interesting that he commuted his sentence of all people. You don't
Hmm.
even like Hispanic people, for real.
Or gays
Or gay people. So I think it's just like
and drag
whatever
queens.
whatever I can do to just do this. And the American people, back to my earlier statement, are stupid because, like, I don't even know if they are embracing him, because, like, now that he's out, he's never probably gonna be able to be reelected. Nobody wanna not who
Mm-mm.
like who is this man? So it's weird to me. But the idea that he doesn't have to pay back restitution to those people, that concept is crazy to me. Like, this is the era in which we live now, where I'm just gonna commute your sentence because it's popularity, and so you are such a crazy figure in the party. I'm a crazy figure in the party, so let me just do something crazy.
It's disgusting, super
Yeah,
disgusting.
it
And
is.
just last thing, it was the New York Times reported that Trump wants the Justice Department to pay him $230
Girl.
million. I said,
Child.
I said, this place is so corrupt. Knowing them because
Like,
he
crazy.
because he those are his people. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just
Yep.
put the money right in his pocket. Hate it,
Like,
disgusted.
here's the hard cash.
That's what
Crazy.
them folks voted for. Anyway, let's flip to some lighter some lighter things. And I know these, especially these two things that we're about to touch on, really caught your attention over the last week. And the
They
first
did.
thing is Tammy Roman. So if you want to just give the folks a quick little
Yeah.
breakdown about what happened.
Yeah, so Tammy Roman and her daughter, what's her name? Jazz? Yes, Jazz. They
Yeah.
were on Candy Burris's podcast with Riley. So it was like a mom-daughter podcast. So I guess they somehow got into this intense, not intense. Well, it did get a little intense at times, I think. Conversation around Jazz being a lesbian, one, and having a girlfriend of basically a year, and that Tammy was uncomfortable with her bringing her girlfriend to the graduation because of her mental health.
There's something called confirmation bias. And when people think like you think or appear to be how you are, you're more drawn to those type of people. So my daughter is a heterosexual female. Confirmation bias allows me to accept whatever situation she's presenting versus not really understanding this moment. And so I got to take a step back and figure out how it works for me and how I can be comfortable in that moment, because there's something called mental health that we have to be concerned about. And I got to be concerned about mine.
And so instead of calling a thing and saying, hey, I don't want your gay girlfriend at my graduation in our pictures messing up our shit because I don't want to deal with that, she leaned into saying confirmation bias was what caused her to not want her at a graduation, and that she had to protect her mental health. And that's why she didn't deem it appropriate for her adult child to extend the offer for her current girlfriend to attend her graduation. And so the idea that one needs to take care of their mental health by excluding a person's existence, let alone your child's partner, is insane. And a bitch like that, I think, deserves no good space sitting anywhere near anyone. She should be cast to an island by herself, right? Without cigarettes for the rest of her life, and see how that feels. That's what I think.
Mm.
I
Sheesh.
just think it's crazy.
I think it's great. Well, and for the people, the daughter is like almost 30. So I just, this blows my mind because thinking
Yeah. Yeah.
what's not clocking for the people. These folks are
I'm not sure.
these folks are big grown, not little grown, they big grown.
The
And it's
big
bold,
one.
the big one. And it's bold especially to say that on somebody's podcast. Because it's one of those things like, do you hear yourself? This ain't even your moment. That's
No.
it's super selfish, not even your moment.
Yeah.
This person is important to your daughter and you just don't want them included. Life life will go on without you, Miss Tammy. If your daughter still has to be happy at the end of the day, and you guys are not twins. You guys are not connected to the hip. When I mean twins, you guys are not conjoined.
Yeah.
Your daughter has to live her own life. And this is like, it's a shame. It's a huge shame that this had to be broadcast, but I'm glad folks brought this I'm glad this was put on the table.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is if it's going to be a teachable moment, because once the people get stuck in their ways, it's
Yeah,
hard to peel them
yeah.
out.
She's one of them people too. I'm never gonna not die on the hill that people who think like that are no different than white people who are racist and allow race to be the reason why they can't see anything else. Like,
Mm.
it makes no sense. You are negating someone's actual experience as if it doesn't exist. Like, it's not fact. And then you're going to use the fact that it's mental health. No, you do need to take care of your mental health by going to see a shrink, because you think that just because you don't like something that it does not have room to exist. Life does not work like that. I don't like tomatoes all the time, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to exist. I don't like Taylor Swift at all. But what is that? That doesn't mean that she's not going to be here. So it's just disgusting that Black people, like us, we have the audacity to even turn our backs on our children and dictate to our children because of homophobia. Because that's my thing. Like, I've been having this conversation with more and more people. I'm not with that old bullshit no more in 2024, 2023, where we're not going to actually talk about it. We're going to talk around it. Nah, bitch, I'm calling you out. What you did was homophobic. What you did was racist. What you said was a microaggression. I'm going to call you out on it, because I don't have the luxury of not. Because in this day in society, you say one thing and you let somebody fly with it. Next thing you know, you calling me a faggot down to the damn thing because you heard somebody else say it in confirmation bias. Like, watch your fucking mouth. So I think it's disgusting for Tammy, for someone who has worked at an LGBTQ plus HIV and AIDS center when she was on television, to understanding all of those things. And I get that you've had the experience of those folks dying, but we're not in 1985 anymore. It's 2025, ma'am. And let your daughter be a grown ass woman.
Well, someone who did have a change of heart here, or a new perspective after getting lashings, was Snoop Dogg, who initially had an issue with there were two moms at the end of Lightyear. Did you see that movie?
No, I have not.
It wasn't great. But the two moms, the two moms were only there. It was only there, I think, maybe in the beginning and at the end. So it was probably like maybe less than 2 minutes of screen time. And of course, you know
All right.
how the outrage goes. Why do I came here to see a kids movie? Why do I have to see two? Mind you, they're not doing nothing but existing
Okay.
and breathing. Okay,
Literally clothed, fully clothed.
fully clothed. Anyway, the internet gave him some lashings, and he ended up connecting with Glad, and they put together some music. It's called Love Is Love. It was about and this was alongside this cartoon that just kind of talks about there are different types of parents out there, which is true. Every family does
Been
not look
true.
the same. So I'm glad I'm glad that there are still people, and I'm glad that this was a great example of someone who can learn from these experiences. Even though I think the funny thing is, I think a lot of those folks who have lived a life as what's the word I want to use? Salacious,
Okay.
as a Snoop Dogg.
Mm-hmm.
I think once you pull that mirror out in front of them and say, "Hey, wait a minute now,
Okay.
were you not the
Let's
same
walk back.
person? Yeah, like, like were you not the same person who did X, Y, and Z? Huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Mm-hmm.
you should think twice about talking about other people's
That clown
lifestyles."
came back to bite. That's really what
It
it was.
did. It did, and like I said, I'm very glad that he has led by example here and has done better. Because I think we need, we need more people like that. It's
Yeah,
okay to
absolutely.
shift to learn and grow.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to him, one finger clap. Because like you said, you have written songs, I'm sure, where you've talked about two women fornicating at some point in your career. So the
Mm.
idea that two women having some sort of joint anything together is not foreign for you. And anybody else for that matter, because that's why lesbian porn and lesbianism and that thing is so hot for people. So it'd be like, Snoop, like, thank you so much for tithing and getting more money off the backs of the queer people after you have the nerve to act like you don't know that two women being together ain't you nigga, you friends with the brat.
Hello?
And she been a
Clock
carpet muncher
it.
all her life.
Whew. Well,
Let the please, please let the people go on about their business. That's what I say.
okay. While we're in the music bag, this is going to be quick. Brandy and Monica, they've gone on their tour, the Boys Mind tour. So there's a little bit of controversy here. At the Chicago stop. First off, are you a fan? Do you like both of them? Do you
I
like
am a
one of
fan
them?
of both women. Yes.
Are you going?
Uh, we have not actually decided. Tickets in Charlotte will not probably sell out. So, if we decide to go, we will make a decision. But I think they get here next month.
Okay. Well, the show ended while they were in Chicago, the show ended abruptly because Brandy, after the fact, she said that she wasn't feeling well. But there's video of her walking off to the sound booth, and doing who knows what, talking to the sound guy. Maybe there was some issue here with the sound and people said that they were sick or giving all types of excuses. Either way, the folks were very upset. Upset to the
Yeah.
point that there is a change.org petition that was floating around the
I am
internet.
screaming.
The people want a refund or a new show, which I think is fair because they were like, you paid your couple $100 to see Brandy and Monica, especially do The Boy Is Mine. Like, that's the name of the tour. You didn't even get to see that.
Well, I mean, I,
Well,
yeah, that's the name of the tour. I came to see The Boy Is Mine, and honey, you said the boy is off stage. Bring the boy back, cause what are you doing? So they said, well, if you can't bring the boy back, bring my coin back. So here we are. So I can't even be mad.
I can't either. I think as much as you pay for these, the price gouging, all this stuff that's going on with these concerts, I think it's very much deserved that they pay these people back. Anyway, finally, did you see this Marvin Winans video?
No, what did he do?
So they were having something at the church, and it was time for the people to come up there with the offering. And so this woman came with her son, and she brought him $1,200, and he's like,
Now that's only $1,200.
Yes.
Y'all not listening to what I'm saying. If you have 1,000 plus 1,000,
Okay. Well, I'm gonna work on the other 800.
well, that ain't what I asked you to do.
I have such an issue with the church folks embarrassing people like that, and it was very ungrateful. Oh, you look like you tapping that leg.
Big girl, the leg is going down here. Leg is going down
You're
here.
tapping that leg.
That is so disgusting. How fucking this? You know what? I don't have a problem with it because if you dumb enough to let a nigga do that to you at church in front of all these people, and you ain't already got no damn money as it is, and that's why you wrote a $1,200 check, you are a grade A dummy. I'm sorry. There is no way. I wish my mama would get her ass down to anybody's church and write a $1,200 check. Excuse me, what is more mind-blowing is churches be 501c3s. They are nonprofit. What is there a gas money ministry? Is there a food pantry ministry? Okay. Is there a home cooked meal on Sunday ministry? Then I would give up my $1,200 if I know I can always go down to the church and get a meal.
Okay.
But I can't even do that. But you know what, Marvin Winans? Go to hell. Okay.
Oh my
On behalf
God.
of your congregation, I'd like to tell you that because I bet you when you get ready to write a check, don't nobody say that shit to you. Huh? Huh? Okay? Like, people are so disrespectful, and it's always a problem down to the church. Stay y'all asses home. Don't go down to them people's church no more. If you go outside and hug a tree, pray to the Lord there, read your own Bible, watch YouTube. Okay? Stay from down in them churches where y'all paying all your money. If you can't pay your light bill historically for the last 2 months, and you down there
Mm.
tied into the damn church, but you still can't pay that light bill, God is, I'm sure, confused as to why you're not using your better judgment. Huh?
Wow.
So if
Well,
you thought that you was okay, so if you thought you was gonna go down to the church and write the $1,200 check after he said 2,000, and you gonna tiptoe up to the front with no money, you already know you ain't got none. And the girl, and then I'm gonna work on the other 800. You deserve to be embarrassed. You deserve it. You deserve to be embarrassed because what kind of stupidity is that?
no, the stupid thing is she ain't snatch her money back because I would have been like, guess you don't want it then. And I
Girl.
just would have walked off. It's a
Baby,
fool.
I
I
would have
hate it.
tipped down to that mic when he said this ain't enough. I would have grabbed that mic and be like, go to hell and walked out. You
Jesus.
bastard. Ugh.
Anyway,
Disgusting.
that wraps up other people's business. Wow, what a moment. How
What a
iconic is
moment.
it? What a moment.
Iconic? Demonic.
Iconic.
Okay.
All right.
Demonic,
So
honey.
are you ready for
Yeah.
Is it really that deep?
Yeah, I'm ready for it. This one's an interesting. There's not an article in which to read, but I'd love to get your feedback around this particular scenario, and is your feeling on is it really that deep?
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you a little backstory, and then I'd love to hear what you have to say. So, of course, we all have friends. Some of us have more friends than others, and that's not because I'm trying to be shady. I think that's just because some people choose to have a smaller circle of friends, and then some
Mm-hmm.
people struggle to make friends. Just naturally because of being in the house, all of the different things. And then there's also the impacts of, maybe you grew up with your friend and you go off to college, you start your life, but your friend from back home maybe didn't have the same trajectory and they may be struggling. And even your friends who have college degrees, 1, 2, and 3, they even sometimes struggle. But what I'm interested to know is how do folks like you and me deal with your friends who may not have the same drive, ambition, goals,
Mm,
and dreams as you? And how do you manage one's expectation of your friend and hold on to your friend for who they are while understanding that when, let's for example say, you want to go to Bermuda and you get ready to plan, but your really good friend is never going to be able to go to a place like Bermuda, one, because they don't have a passport. Two, and if they do have a passport, they're not going to be able to afford it. So, let me
oh my
set the
God.
table for you a little bit. Yeah. So you and your friend are talking about advancing your own lives, right? And one of your friends, the group of your friends, one of them is a friend who, feels very justified in their experience around, relying on support from other people, from the government, from all of these things. And that affords them the ability to spend less time worrying about things that other folks worry about, like, your car and all of these things and chasing, a $1 million salary or 6-figure salary. Whereas I can live an easier life, depend on the government, and I don't have to worry about the experiences that you wake up and experience every day because I have the luxury of for example, taking my kid to the water park during the summer, because during the summer I don't work. I just chill and I use food stamps, for example,
Oh,
and or I borrow food stamps from my homegirl so I don't have to just random scenarios like that. And so how does one manage? So is it really that deep when you get into it and you're talking about advancing your life with your friends, and your friends choose to sit in the experiences that they are, and they say, I don't have money, I don't have this, I don't have that. But their response is, well, I have the luxury of chilling. I don't have to worry about what you got going on. I'm not chasing working at a corporate job. How do you still stay connected to that person as your friend when you clearly understand that their drive and ambition are not the same, but you still value them as your friend?
how much do you value them as your friend?
Yeah, you do. That's a really good question. That's a
I
really good
think I
question.
think I think there are of course there are layers, because like if y'all are like super close, I think that you'll make different decisions um when it as it pertains to the friendship. It just feels like, and this is okay, that you two
Yeah.
are on two different paths.
Mhm.
Those in just
This is
because
not me,
you're
first of
okay,
all.
okay,
This is
okay,
just an
okay, okay. I'm
example.
just saying.
This is
I'm just
not
saying.
me.
I'm just saying. I'm just
And
saying.
then I don't want nobody calling me like, "You was talking about me down on the podcast." No, baby, this is just an example. This was actually a conversation that happened on TikTok that I'm
hmm
just also, like, relating to us. No,
Okay.
not me, honey,
Okay.
no.
Okay. Okay. Well, yes. It's okay. I think that there's a piece of like not trying to let certain things go, and friendship, and
Mhm.
letting like certain aspects of like friendships, or just even letting the person go completely. It's hard. It's tough.
Yeah.
But I think you just have to really set the expectations with yourself on like what you can expect from that person, and you already know what that
Mhm.
person can give, and you know what you can and cannot really talk to that person about, because they won't be able to relate.
Yeah.
So once you just make peace with that, I think you'll be able to navigate the relationship better.
Yeah.
Like I said, people also just grow apart. They don't have to be, attached at your hip for your
Yeah.
entire life. Sometimes it's good to just have them and catch up and see how they're doing, whatever the case
Mhm.
is, every now and then. But you know, I think you just gotta just come make peace with that particular relationship, and just know that they will not be able to fulfill a certain space in your life
Yeah.
like you want them to.
Yeah, I think this is also something that I've talked about. And I think this is with family, especially like when you have family
hmm
members who are not necessarily thinking in the advanced forward way that you might think one should. And how do you still love on them and allow them to live in their reality in the way that they choose? And also set a boundary that you shouldn't be saving them, you shouldn't be giving them money, you shouldn't be doing any of those things. Um, but it also makes me think about, like, to your earlier point, letting go, and like it's okay to not be friends in that way where it used to be. And I think also longevity of friendship also impacts the way that people show up to, because it's like, well, this has been my friend for 20 plus years, so I
hmm
don't want to cut them off. And it's like, well, you don't necessarily have to cut them off, but you understand that they may not always be the friend that you go to for X, which is why I really value having lots of different types of friends. Because even like, and I hate to say this, but like, I wouldn't bring Cody, my friend who is white, into every single space with my black
Yeah.
friends. Not that he could not function, because he's been around black people his entire life. It's not that he's not been around them, but I know that some spaces are for that identity and they want to have that space, and bringing him in would not be the best thing. And so that is not a bad thing. And he knows that there are certain elements that I would never be comfortable in. And I've told him that don't bring me around a bunch of old rickety white men that you might meet on the street, because what the fuck am I going to do with them? And that's
Mhm.
okay. And we have that understanding in our friendship. And I think that maybe that also impacts the way people feel like that element of letting go and having the trust. But I think also just realizing that some people are just different, and not that
Yeah.
that difference is like a terrible thing or detractor. It is just people are different, and it's okay to expect different things from your friends, like you said. It was just interesting to me that like some people who are in those predicaments where their lives may not be the most like may not be the shining example of what they thought it was gonna be, but then they use that as a way to say, well, I have more luxury in my life where I don't have to worry about that because you're chasing this. And it's like, yeah, but you also are struggling meal to meal.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't have to do that. I might have to worry about being called a nigga subliminally at work, but that's not that's minute into making sure that I can live in a place that is nice and safe and all of those things. So I thought it was just really interesting. So is it really that deep for you? Like, just is it like, whatever, friend, do your thing, or is it like, what, those people I would just phase out of my life?
For me, well, friendships are my jam. I love friendships. So it would be that deep. It would be that deep for
Yeah.
me, but like I would have to keep my keep people in certain pockets.
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
and of course there's always a reason why, when you introduce your two friend groups together, the friend groups, and people are always nervous.
Yeah,
This is
uh-huh,
like one of those
uh-huh.
things because you never know. These are
Mm-hmm.
different elements of people's lives
Okay.
that that may not always
Child,
work.
we don't need nobody
I
fighting,
get it.
honey.
Okay.
Mm,
All
mm,
right,
mm.
all right, all right. Well, that was I'm glad that wasn't you.
Yeah, no, 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 not me.
So I was like,
No
I said,
worries.
I said, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Are
Okay,
we
all
are
right.
we talking about you here? No, we're not.
It
We're
was the
not.
way
Not
that you
me.
looked, like the way that you looked. I was like, wait a minute. It's just,
No, no, no,
I
no,
said,
not me. Not me. All of my friends, you are advancing, you are thriving, you are living your lives, and if you are not, I don't know that, and that ain't none of my business.
all right, all right. Well, that wraps up. Is it really that deep?
Thank you so much.
Lord, woo! We have made it to the final stretch. Wow.
Wow, we did that. We
Um,
really
we
did that.
did, we
We
did.
did.
We're at the meat of the conversation, and this one is very, very interesting, and the people are talking. So we want to get into the perfect neighbor.
It's time to eat. We're serving up truth that you sent me.
Mm,
I'm gonna set the stage here and just let people just giving like what this film is about, and then we can just kind of like get into our thoughts. And the crazy thing is, like, this is just one of those things that I actually just I felt compelled to actually write down my thoughts on,
period.
um because once I get it, once it hits for me, I gotta like, write it
Mm-hmm.
down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so The Perfect Neighbor it's a true crime documentary that's on Netflix, and it was shot. I can't say it was shot. It was like it's all like body cam footage and like police interviews. So if I know that like this is like a new trend on like YouTube that people get into, is like body cam footage and like watching people that do the crimes. There's a lot of shoplifting videos and stuff on YouTube that are actually kind of like ridiculous and funny. So in case you're into that, this is like one of those type of things.
Okay.
Now, I've never heard of this story actually, so this was all a shock to me. So, this film recounts the shooting of a GK, aka AJ Owens, who was a mother she's black, and she was shot by her neighbor Susan Lawrence.
Mm.
So how the lead up to all of this was that the neighbor was such a Karen, and she would complain and complain and complain and complain and complain. She would call the police for years. She would call the police so many times because the kids in the neighborhood, um, including AJ's children, they would just be like playing in like this vacant lot that was next to her home, and she set up like all these like signs and things that says keep off the grass and whatever the case is, private property, which of course, as we know, like if you own the home, of course you have a property line, but those kids were not on property at all. They were just playing in this lot that's really adjacent, and the neighbors allowed them to play in their yards too. So one day, um, June of 2023, uh, the neighbor Susan got into like a back and forth with the kids, and she ended up throwing like a skate at one of the kids and like came out with an umbrella and she's swinging it, and she told one of the kids out there like, because they said they were gonna go get their mom or whatever, because of course she was wilding out. She said go get her. Um, and then AJ came over to her home, knocked on the door, boom, boom, boom. Hey, what's up? Susan pulled out a gun and shot through the door, which ended up killing AJ, and all the children in the neighborhood. They were outside there seeing her like take her last breaths, and they couldn't really help because of course these are like kids, right? Police came, broke the news. She didn't make it. Susan did not immediately go to jail. Because of the stand your ground law, there was like a significant amount of time before the police actually were able to do something about it. So they set out and did this whole investigation. She ended up getting actually charged for the crime. And they revealed that, of course, it seems like there was a little bit of planning that went into this, a little bit of Googling to kind of like set the scene and scenario. There was some inconsistencies with her story,
For sure.
and she got convicted, uh 25 years in prison. Mind you, she's 60, so this should be a life
Her
sentence
last stop.
essentially. Yes, and just seeing the courtroom footage, like sis has dropped like 60
All the
pounds,
way. Yep.
and she's looking very sickly. And now we're here, and I would love to know, how did you feel about the documentary? And then, like I said, I'll share my
Yeah.
my thoughts on it.
I probably would have not watched this documentary had you not told me. Only
Mhm.
because it's just so charged, and I don't like to watch shit like that, especially having to go back to work with people who don't really understand the implications of what we talk about at work around race and shit, and how
Mhm.
they then trickle down to experiences like this. I cried a lot, and last night I was ugly crying too, and I think it's primarily because um these are like elements and scenarios that we as Black people have to consider and think about all the time. And like the
Mhm.
interactions with the police when they would come out, and like their responses to me even were enraging, when it's like, when I was a kid, I was out here doing the same things you were doing, these kids are doing, I was running, and you weren't doing the same thing. Like, they are just being kids, and the fact that you are insinuating that they're doing something at all because you see these little Black kids running and having a good time and being silly like any other kid, is like, now we need to go and talk about, what's going on, just stay out of the yard and all this bullshit. And it was just crazy to me that there was not more of an urgency to protect the children, in the
Mhm.
sense that it was to protect this white woman who only owned the cement in front of her door. And I think that it was just rough watching and having to see all of the news be delivered to those children about the death of their mother, and being able unfortunately, being able to see her on the ground, semi-lifeless, was also, like, jarring to me, but more importantly, these are laws that are in place that aim to protect those who have power and social power. Because I mean, really think about it. If this role were reversed, stand your ground law, because of the social power that that the dominant culture has, the things would have been switched. People would have been freaking out,
Yeah.
like, she knew this was going to be happening, killing her. It wouldn't have been the same thing. So it was just very disheartening to see. But I stand your ground laws do not benefit us. They never really do. They actually take us out of here at a faster rate. So it was hard to watch, but a very good documentary for people to literally see just how fucked up some of these laws can be, especially in areas where um, white people feel scared, and that perceived fear comes into play, how it can change the trajectory of someone's entire life. I mean, hell, you ask Emmett, well, you can't ask Emmett Till because he's dead. So that perceived fear is what they are talking about, and I hate that that had to happen. So yeah, that was my take.
Oh boy. This one was heavy for me. It was so
Yeah,
heavy for me. Uh, so I first want to say I want to just get into the positives here. And the positive is that this was a community, and
hmm,
there was so much love in this community that you really don't get a chance to see. Like I said, the kids were playing, the parents were being parents, right? This is the stuff that we talk about back in the old day where you have the neighbor stands in for your parent if your parent is not there. And you could see
yeah,
that all the kids had that respect for all those folks who lived in that neighborhood, and they watched out for those kids and made sure that those kids were good each and every time, even through the ups and the downs and the worst pieces of this. All the neighbors were making sure that this family was okay, the kids were okay. That was one of the things that I just thought that was just like very warm to me, and I appreciate that that was at least documented here.
yeah,
Now, Susan, Susan was just like this typical, she was Karen. Susan was
yeah,
Karen. And Florida has built this system with the stand your ground law that makes injustices like this happen. And, the fact that you can just like Google and plot and plan and figure out what type of boundaries are allowed for you to commit these types of crimes. It's terrible. It's terrible, and it's destroyed so many lives and even like communities. And as you said before, like this system was not built for people who look like us. Even at the end of the film, they said there was like an 11% increase um in crimes against black folks because of this law. So you see who it's benefiting and who is not. I am very disappointed but not surprised. Um Law enforcement, as you said, they should have intervened a long, long time ago before all of this is happening. I mean, how many calls do you need to how many I don't even know. I actually don't even. They did say that there should have been at least like some folks who do some type of social services, some type of therapy,
hmm,
psychologist, something to come out there to try to mediate this situation because the lady was unhinged and she was not well.
yeah,
And that was very evident. Like you getting called to the police department, and mind you, they've heard you waving a gun prior to all of this particular incident, and they just kind of just like brushed it to the side. Maybe it's because of, that community is full of black folks and they're just like, it is what it is. We don't want to touch it. We
yeah,
don't want to touch it too much. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how the folks thought. This is just like the kids are out there getting on her nerves and we just gonna leave it there. But they really messed up when they did not intervene. And I think that they felt that once someone lost their life. I do feel like they felt that a lot and the pressure in the public to try to try to correct that. But and this is crazy for me to say, but I have to put it out there.
hmm,
This is the only time the absolute only time that I was rooting for police brutality when she was in that interview when she was in that interview room. I wanted the police, and she was refusing. They
To
were like,
drag her
we're going,
ass.
okay. She was refusing to go to prison, and they were so patient and so kind to her. This
It's
was
just
that one
crazy.
time I'm like, they need to slam her head up against this wall and this floor and
Yep.
yank her up out this chair
Especially
because of
that
the things
first
that
time,
you
she was
did.
like, "I'm not going." I was like, "Oh,
I would have said, what?
you're not going, girl. Please, I'm gonna drag you
Okay,
in that chair too."
they they should have just tossed her. Okay, tossed her against that wall, that floor, and then pulled her right up out of there. She should have just had one time to say something like that. Because
Okay,
if it was anyone else who
you
didn't
already
look
know.
like that, we would have probably not even made it out alive in that point.
No, hell no.
And like the other like emotional beats of all of this are just like when the son said they were asking, was the son hurt? And he was like, I'm not hurt, but my heart is broken. That was like
Mm-hmm.
the first like
Honey.
thread that made me become undone. But I think the other thing that just kind of really sucked the life out of me and the wind and all like just all of it was when the dad told the kids that the mom was gone. Because for folks who have lost a parent before, like a conversation like that, like just hearing that, and especially because they were there and they could not help,
Mm-hmm.
um that will just that took me back to a place, and it just kind of just like took the wind out of me, and it just shook me to my core. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like I feel for these
Yeah.
kids,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're damaged. They're completely
Like for
damaged
life.
now.
For life.
Yeah, because they had to witness
Yeah.
something like that. And that like that and not only like mentally, now you've really like displaced them, and they have to be moved around, and I think they're staying with their grandma now and everything, and it's just sad because their mother was really a champion for them and like was working really hard to make sure that they were afforded all types of luxuries despite whatever living situation that they were in, and it's really sad and really disappointing. And
Yeah.
I know that like we have such a big hill to climb to make sure these type of things don't happen in the future. But I think if this is a lesson in anything, you just got to build your community, hold it tight. Those people, once it's there, they'll hold you down. I appreciate, just watching this. It was, like I said, it was something that I have not heard of.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was buried in all of the craziness that's been
Yeah.
going on for the last while. So, I
Mm-hmm.
would, even though we done spoiled it, I would tell people
I
if you
know,
ain't
right?
seen it, if you ain't
It's worth
see
the
it, go
watch.
see it.
It's worth it.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm glad we had a chance to talk about that. I would
Yes,
love to hear other people's
absolutely.
thoughts. And
Ooh, honey. It
I
wore me
don't, I don't,
out.
I don't. Hey, that wore me out too. I don't
Yeah,
have
I had to take a
anything
shower
else.
and like put my life together.
Mm, terrible. So anyway, I wish we could. Let me think. Let me think. We gotta leave this on a lighter note, okay?
We
Okay,
do. We
because
do.
this was this was
Okay.
this was this one was just a little
Woo.
heavy.
Yeah, honey. Yeah, it'll take you in there.
It's,
It'll take you in there for
it
sure.
absolutely.
And
So
I
on
ain't
a
talking
lighter
about through
note,
there.
take me through there. Take me through there.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that Halloween is coming up, and are you dressing up
Period.
so we could just?
W-
Are you?
We I don't know what we're doing actually. We haven't made any
Mhm.
decisions yet. We might I don't know what we're gonna be doing. We might be somewhere dressed up for
Okay,
real.
so make sure you wear a little cheap piece of costume for our next week's episode.
We will. We'll
So
be
the
costumed out.
and uh I hope you all watch. Make sure you subscribe and
To all
keep
the
them listens
things.
coming, and you'll see our costumes, how
Yeah. Oh
scandalous they
Lord.
may be
She
or
was a
not.
fairy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I should
Yeah.
get some wings.
That would be
Mm.
cute.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay. Alrighty. We did that.
We
Wow.
did.
We
All
did
right, y'all.
that.
We will
All right,
talk to
girls.
y'all next week.